Hello there. So someone asked the question of how do macros work in Bazecore, and they wanted relevant literature or reference material. So I'll talk about like AutoHotkeys and Keyboard Maestro if you're on Mac as well, how to uh, make everything interact with each other. So first, some terminology. Bazecore calls this just a normal key, like this arrow or anything on the keyboard. If you use a modifier, like this OS or the GUI button, then it becomes a super key right here. Um, you also have keys like this, which this is like Control C if you're on Windows, Control V, which this is just the copy and paste. So these are sometimes considered shortcuts. So whenever you're in an editor, uh, this is uh, a mapping to the shortcuts. It's similar to what I did with the screen with Chrome, where I can like uh, use a layer almost like as an interface to control where I want to place all these shortcuts and arrange them in a way that I like. And same thing on the left, except for instead of shortcuts, it's like an actual application. So this was the spectacle application I showed in the last video, where I can remap all these keys to however I want. Um, and this is exactly what I did when I remapped my keys to Keyboard Maestro, where I just had all my keys be the default keys, but then I added a Alt or Options if you're on Mac plus Shift modifier, and then I had it so that when that key is pressed, then Keyboard Maestro will activate a little script. Okay, so that brings us back to what are macros in Bazecore? So they're basically just a sequence of keys, or I guess super keys. Um, and I'll show you a couple, like a select line, or like select word, or delete line. I'll show you how I uh, created them. You do that, or you create this macro just by looking for the macro key, and then you can, if you have macros already, then they'll appear here. If you don't have them in this list, then you first have to create them in the macro editor. Okay, so this is the macro editor. You have an option to create a new macro. I think there's like a hello world demo, like when you get started. I think they type in like right here, but I'll show you how I do macros. So which one? Select word. So what select word does, if you just look at it, it uses the left arrow key with the options first. So just like anywhere, and then I press options and left, so I go all the way to the left word, and then I hold down shift. This is what this little arrow key means. It's shift goes down, so this option key is still holding down, this shift key is still holding down, and then I tap the right arrow key. So while holding shift, oops, that was, there you go. And then that selects the word going to the right, and then I basically let go of the shift and then the option. So if I'm like in the middle word and press it in one go, it does that right away. I don't have to do the two sequence of first go to the left word and then shift and hold and go to the right. So it's pretty nice. If you notice that if you're in the beginning of the word though, and you use that, then I end up selecting this word. Fortunately, I have a way to just select the word to the right, so I don't have to really worry about that too much. I still use select word all the time. And same with select line, except instead of the options, if you hold down command, then that basically is like the home or like to the beginning of the line. So the command is down, you go to the beginning of the line. Now you're holding shift, and then you're holding command down again. I guess you didn't have to let command up, but you're holding command down again, and then you're going to the right with shift. So you're selecting everything to the right, and then your cursor ends up at the end of the line, and you're selecting everything. So then you can copy your line and then maybe paste or do whatever. So that's pretty useful as well. So I'm just basically combining two super keys basically together to create a little macro that does something pretty functional, I think. And I'll go over delete line last and stop there. So delete line, we're going to be using Control A, which Control A just goes to the beginning of the line. Oops, beginning of the line. And then we're holding down Shift, Option, and to the right. So that's selecting everything, going to the right. So it's like that. Then we're letting everything go. And then we're doing backspace 2 times. So we're deleting the word, and then we're deleting like the line if it was there. So 2 commands basically, or actually more than that, is go to beginning line, select it, go to the end of the line, and then delete, delete. Okay, so yeah, after you get your macro made, you have to make sure that you save the name and then you save it, or else it won't save. The saving, all it does is it stores in a JSON document, which if you export it, it is basically saving it to an external or persistent storage, like this JSON document, like all macros.json. I think that's the default, which just shows you all your keys. If you're trying like to add in new keys, it might be easy just to like, if you have like your existing script and you want to like, or if you want to like add another person's hotkey, you might be able to just like select their script part and then just add in an extra portion, add in like an extra portion. So you can just keep adding in like this new action area, everything that's contained in this brackets. And it should work. You might have to edit the IDs, but yeah, you might be able to just import it as well. I don't really have much experience with that, but going on to how to use the basics of AutoHotkeys or Keyboard Maestro. If you just type in like tutorial of AutoHotkeys, you can see how to get started, hotkeys and hot strings. Hotkeys is what I've used in the past, like how I created all of the macros that I just showed you. This is basically when you press Control J, then you basically send this output, which is just saying send this string, but you can also make it send like basically a sequence of super keys or a macro, and do like delete line, for example, if you wanted to. So that's what we've been doing, and you can like you can have your keyboard layer, you can go to layer 3, and then on your Q key, if you want, you can add Control J, and then if you type the Q key in layer 3, then my first script will execute. So that's how that works. Hot strings, if you're interested, if you type in a word, FTW, then you basically print out for the whales. This is very useful if you want to like autocorrect like stuff, like TEH becomes like the, or like for and, ADN. If you do that a lot, you don't have to worry about those typos ever again. So that's pretty nice. Also use it for abbreviations, or a lot of times if you also want the abbreviation, then you can put an exclamation mark first, and then the abbreviation to print out the whole verse. So that way you can also choose between the abbreviation or the whole verse. Let's see what else is in here. You can execute scripts or go to like websites. That's just like run Notepad, or go to the sites. Okay, you can add in message boxes, which is like a little prompts. And then you can do more programming related stuff like executing scripts or defining your own functions and storing variables, that type of stuff. So you can do a lot with this if you're interested. And the community is very friendly as well. And a lot of times if you have a question, there's a good chance that someone else has already asked it. So if you just do a little Google search, you can probably find some solutions that other people have done and then combine them and find a version that you'd like. And if you still need help, then you can ask in various forms. And the same applies to Keyboard Maestro. Keyboard Maestro is for Mac, not Windows, like AutoHotkeys. And it's more of a GUI approach, which makes it easier and harder. I think it's harder to uh, learn because you almost like need a video to follow through instead of all these images. Well, that might be easier. I don't know. It's pretty straightforward. I use it a lot of. Um, but everything is GUI based like this. This was my I had a emotes layer where I decided to make a bunch of keys that just map to like simple output. It's really easy to create stuff. I had all my layers configured here as well, like editing layer, navigation layer, and copy paste, stuff like that. But then I switched to the Dygma Raise, so I removed a lot of them. But yeah, it's pretty easy to create new macro. Go here, you can identify a trigger, like the hotkey, like through Bazecore, or like the top type string, which is like the hot string in AutoHotkeys. And then this stuff is just like selecting through like a little GUI menu button. But yeah, type string. Sure, we can see like, I don't know, hi. Then we can execute. You're given a lot of options. That's probably the hardest part. You just feel overwhelmed at first sometimes. You can just type in text and like display text or insert text by typing or pasting. Sure. Instead of hi, you can say hello Dygmates. Okay. And then it's activated, so then I can go to a prompt and just type anywhere hi, and I get hello Dygmates. That's all a hot string is. So those are pretty useful. I would recommend getting into those if you want to get into macros. But yeah, now you know how to link macros together from other software, or how to create little super key scripts in Bazecore. So hope you found this useful. Okay, goodbye.